The coroner said the man had been dead for hours. But at 3:17 in the morning, his phone rang, and someone answered it from inside his locked apartment. This isn't a ghost story. What you're about to hear is a real case, pieced together from official reports and interviews. There were no signs of a break-in, no drugs, no struggle. The police quickly ruled it an accident. Yet, to this day, the people involved refuse to speak publicly about what really happened that night. This story isn't just about a strange death. It's about a detail so bizarre, so impossible, it challenges everything we think we know about the line between life and death. The official explanation is simple, but the truth is anything but. His name was Daniel Carter, 29 years old, a software technician living a quiet life alone in a small apartment in Ohio. He was the kind of person you'd pass on the street and never look at twice. He had no criminal record, no known enemies, and no history of mental illness. By all accounts, Daniel was completely, reassuringly ordinary. He worked a 9-to-5 job, paid his rent on time, and called his family on weekends. His apartment complex was just as unremarkable as standard, 3-story building in a quiet suburb. Nothing about Daniel Carter or his life suggested he was headed for a mysterious and unsettling end. He was, in every sense of the word, a normal guy. On a Tuesday night, Daniel sent a text to his sister at 10:40 p.m. It read, "Talk tomorrow. I'm exhausted." That was the last message he ever sent. At 11:58 p.m., just over an hour later, a neighbor living in the unit directly below Daniel's reported hearing a single, loud thud. It wasn't a scream. It wasn't a crash of breaking glass. It was just a dull, heavy impact, like a sack of potatoes or a piece of furniture hitting the floor. The neighbor thought little of it at the time people dropped things. He rolled over and went back to sleep, unaware he was the last person to hear any sign of life from apartment 3B. The next morning, Daniel didn't show up for work. After his boss couldn't reach him, his sister was called, worried. She went to his apartment. When he didn't answer the door, she called the building manager, who let her in with the master key. They found Daniel face down in his living room. The front door had been locked from the inside, the deadbolt thrown. The chain was still on. The windows were all sealed shut. The scene was perfectly undisturbed. The medical examiner arrived and estimated the time of death to be around midnight, consistent with the thud the neighbor had heard. The cause was listed as sudden cardiac arrest. A tragic, but seemingly straightforward, natural death. The case should have ended right there, but it didn't. When police collected Daniel's personal effects as standard procedure, they noticed something that didn't make any sense. His phone was on the kitchen counter, and its battery was critically low, less than 5%. That was odd, considering he always charged it overnight. But the truly strange part was in the call log. It showed an incoming call received at 3:17 a.m., more than 3 hours after Daniel was believed to have died. The call log showed that the call lasted for 12 seconds, and more unnervingly, it showed that the call was answered. Someone, or something, inside that sealed apartment had picked up the phone. The investigators were baffled. How could a dead man answer his phone? They dug deeper into the call log, looking for the number that had called. And that's when this strange case became a truly terrifying one. The call didn't come from a friend, or a family member, or even a telemarketer. The call came from Daniel's own number. His phone had called itself. This was technically impossible, a glitch at best, but it got worse. The call had gone to voicemail, leaving a 12-second recording. When investigators played it back, they expected to hear static or silence. Instead, they heard the distinct sound of breathing. It was slow and shallow, almost labored. It was followed by a faint, unidentifiable scratching sound, and then a whisper. A voice, hoarse and weak, said two words, "I can't move." The lead detective immediately ordered a review of the apartment building's hallway security cameras. There was one camera pointed directly at Daniel's front door. It had been recording all night, capturing the quiet, empty hallway. Except for one inexplicable gap, the footage was missing. From 3:14 a.m. to 3:23 a.m., there were 9 minutes of black screen. The timestamp just jumped. The system logs showed no malfunction, no power outage. The data was simply gone. This 9-minute window perfectly covered the exact time the impossible phone call was made and answered. Whatever happened in that apartment happened in a moment that was erased from the record. The case was officially closed within 24 hours. The final report read, "Accidental death. Cause, sudden cardiac arrest." The impossible phone call, the 12-second voicemail, the missing security footage all were noted as unexplained equipment anomalies and dismissed. There was to be no further investigation. Daniel Carter was buried the following week. His sister still keeps his phone, stored away in a box. She says it hasn't been turned on in years. The battery is long dead. But she swears that once every few months, in the dead of night, the screen lights up on its own. It shows an incoming call from Daniel, and no one has ever dared to answer it again.